What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be working with a Samsung top loader, and let me show you what it's doing, and I'll explain exactly what's going on, what I found, just in case you're having the same issue. You'll see how to fix it. So we're going to do a quick rinse and spin. Okay, I don't know if that sound, you guys heard it through the audio. So what's happening is, as soon as it's sensing the load before it adds water on the rinse, it senses first, and then as the second time you can hear where it starts to spin and then just opens up the clutch and then just stays right there. So the issue is it's just flashing spin and rinse. It's not adding any water. So if this is happening, what I found out is the brain doesn't know the position of the motor, doesn't know the speed. So it uses a sensor to detect that. It's either the sensor is dirty. I've seen occasions where it gets all greasy and it can't read the speed of the motor, basically, when it's spinning. So it's either cleaning it, I'll show you exactly where it's at, and I'll show you what it looks like, or replacing it. Yeah, so if you see that it doesn't look oily or anything and it's all cleaned, then most likely it's faulty. And I also do recommend checking the connections. Sometimes they do get loose when it's spinning. And if you get an off-balance load, usually it will shake. So make sure you check all the connections first. I'll show you in a second. But let me show you what it looks like, which is this right here. This goes straight to the motor and the position of the transmission and the whole drive shaft and everything. So like I said, sometimes it gets all oily on this front part. This is where it reads it. And I'll show you exactly where it's at. I do have another one, which I use for parts. And I'll show you what it looks like through the top. Well, I basically turned around, upside down, so you know exactly where it goes. And I'll show you how to install it, uninstall it, and everything. So let me go and show you the first one, the one I have for parts, and then I'll show you how to install it on the right model. So I'll be right back. So this is what you will see underneath this same model. Like I said, this machine, I have it for parts, so it's flipped over. You can see the tub, sensors. Sometimes the issue may be caused by this capacitor. I've seen occasions where these cables might rip and they don't have a full connection. So if that happens, check these cables right here, and also this cable to the main agitator, basically an actuator, the one that pulls this to go into drive. But that sensor that I'm telling you about is, you remove this nut right here, you take it off. It's already been unassembled, so you can kind of see, make it easier. So the sensor goes right here, right there. So when this spins, the sensor will catch the speed and knows the rotation, and it'll tell it how fast it's going, if it's going to be on a high spin, low spin, or agitation. But if sometimes this sensor will get dirty with all the oil and stuff, so it won't read it. So if it's cleaned like this one, I already cleaned it, but if it's clean, then most likely it's just faulty. You just have to undo it. So it only needs 2 bolts right here, this one and this one, to remove, and that's how you get it uninstalled. So to install it, once again, you put it in, put the bolts back together, put the lid right here for the washer, and then put the nut. After the nut, you put the belt on it. If you're having trouble with the belt, I usually go this way, put tension on it, and then you spin everything with it. That will pull the belt on. And it also has a frame that goes over it, which is this one. It goes like this. Put the bolt back in there. There's two on each side. And that's how you install everything back together. So it's the same exact model as the one I'm working with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just using the sensor just to test it out. Because I know on this one, I know the sensor is working. It's just the brain was really rusty, so I'm just using it for parts. So I'm gonna try this, put it on the other model, put it on this model and run it. If it works, then I order the sensor brand new because this is a shop, so I repair and sell. Okay, so I'm gonna test it out, hardwire it. If it works, then I just order it brand new. They're not too expensive. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go underneath this machine so you can see how everything is and go from there. Okay, so this is the washer that I'm working with. And this is what it looks like assembled. I did take the frame out just so you can make it easier to look. So this is your actuator. Once again, if that also goes bad, it won't go into spin mode. It won't pull this lever for the whole system to go into high spin or agitation. So it pulls it, it goes up and it goes down, it goes into gear. So let me kind of show you how it works. So you can see. So it goes in, it goes back. So that goes into spin, that goes into agitation. You can see if I can move my light, get a closer look. Okay, like that. It goes up, back, back. Okay. So that also, if that goes bad, that won't go into high spin mode. So for the sensor we're working with, this is where the connection is. So it goes all the way to here, all the way into this system. So it goes in there. You see how it's all oily? So it's possible that the sensor might be just dirty, but I'm just gonna switch it out because I did clean it and it did do it the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. Once again, to remove it is remove this bolt right here, remove the belt, and then you remove the whole plate, and then you get access to it. You could remove it just going directly through here, but I just make it easier so I can see if there's anything else that's damaged. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how to install it back together and then go from there. So what I'm using is 17mm socket for the main nut. Now if you're having trouble undoing it, you have 3 holes. You can stick a rod into it, make it tight, then you'll be able to spin it just like this. There you go. So that's loosened. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the belt. Belt is off, plate is off. Just be careful, it does come with this gear thing. So we're gonna go ahead and just put it to the side. It's all greasy, like I was saying, so that might be the issue, but we're still gonna test that new sensor. And we're gonna go ahead and use another socket, 10mm socket for the size of the small bolts. So I have the 10mm socket. We're gonna go ahead and remove it. That's out. This is out. And that's how you uninstall it. Okay. And now you have, just to remove this harness right here, you have this little clip holder for the cables. You just undo that, and that's how you uninstall this sensor. We're gonna go ahead, because the other one is cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewire it, cut that sensor, rewire it, and then we're gonna go ahead and install it. So I'll be right back. So this is what the sensor looks like, complete. The other one doesn't have this harness because I did cut it. As you can see, like I was saying, see it's all oily right there in the right of the sensor. So that might be the issue. I'll clean it out and stuff, but I just want to go ahead and just switch it out and see if that does the trick. And then we'll go ahead and replace it with a brand new one. So I'm just gonna undo it from here, put it to the other sensor that I have, which is this one that I know that is working. Rewire it from here. There's only 3 wires. Install it and then test it out. So this is what it looks like. You have 3 wires, red, blue, green, 3 wires, the same cable, so just color code it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just put some tape on it. This is just a temporary fix just to test it out. Put it back together, and then I'll show you as soon as I'm installing it back together. Okay, so got it wired up, and we're gonna go ahead and install it. But right before I do, like I was mentioning, it was all oily in there. So we're gonna go ahead and clean right where this area is, because you can see pretty dirty in there. It's all oily, and I don't want that other sensor to get dirty, and then we're not gonna see if that's the issue. So let me go ahead and clean it out and then install it and go from there. We're going to go ahead and test it out. Okay, so it's on. I already put the 2 bolts right there. This is your gears, and it goes over here. We're going to connect it to this harness. So now we're going to get this gear. Sorry, I'm kind of laying down, so put this gear between the washer and this plate. So it goes like this, and then the gear on top of that, like that. And that's how it installs to the gear shaft right there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then put that nut with the washer, and that's how you install it. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so the nut is back in. All of this part is already installed. Once again, remember, if you're having trouble trying to tighten this nut and the whole thing is spinning, I just use a small rod like extension, put it in through this little hole. Make sure you grab onto something like this nut right here. Okay, and just turn it so it can lock on. Make sure you're not locking onto the sensor or any other plastic parts, because they will break. So yeah, lock on into that nut. That's it. I'll go ahead and spin it. Once again, the size right here. $17. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just connect right here the harness, and the sensor has been installed. Now, next step is the belt. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. I know I had a little stand for my GoPro camera, but recording one of these videos, it broke, it fell. So see how easy I did it with one hand? Okay, so put it in, you spin it as you go. Now it's in place. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and test it out and see what happens. If that doesn't do the trick, then the next step will be this capacitor or this actuator, the one I was telling you earlier. If that doesn't go into gear, then that's what's not pulling this lever right here for the whole transmission gearbox to go into gear. Okay, I know this is working because you can hear it, and I have checked it, so I know that's working. Will be the next step will be this, but let me go ahead and test it out with this sensor and let me see what happens. Okay, my friends, we're gonna go ahead and power it on. Once again, I usually test everything first. That rinse and spin is the quickest cycle because it does basically everything through a normal cycle, but in a quicker time, 15 minutes, maximum 20 minutes. So that will tell me of adding water, sensing, agitation, rinsing out, draining. So everything does it way quicker, just in case you want to test something quick. So we're gonna go ahead and start it. Okay. Door lock is working. Door lock is on. So if it passes that second sense, when it spins and it senses the weight, if it goes and passes that second one, then we're good. If not, like I mentioned, we're gonna check the capacitor next, if this doesn't work. And as we're waiting, remember, if you have any other issues besides this one, leave a comment. I will be uploading more frequent videos. I'm gonna try to do at least one daily. At least, if not daily, minimum 3 times a week. I have many different models, so just in case you're starting out, you want to be a tech or you want to, do yourself at home. So I can teach, as much as I know. I'm not the best technician out there. I mean, I've been doing it about 6 years already. I know I don't do things exactly how other technicians do it, but it has worked for me. So everything I'm doing, it has worked for 6 years already. I've done I'd say over 4,000 repairs. So I can't say I'm a beginner anymore. Intermediate. I'm still learning. There's still new models coming out, but I do know a lot. So if you have questions, any other issues on this model, I can troubleshoot it through the comments. You can send me an email. I will respond, try to help everybody out. I know there's probably other people looking at videos, learning how to do this, to do a little side hustle. And it does. It is good money. So there's I've seen a lot of houses, a lot of people getting rid of them. You go through the streets, there's washers, dryers everywhere. Not just dryers, there's stoves, fridges. So I'll be teaching you how to do all the repairs. Just go ahead and like the videos so you can help me out. Like the video, leave comments, subscribe. I will be teaching you as much as I know. So far, I'm still waiting for that water. Some of these have this brain, so some might take a little longer than others, which is normal. But if you see that it's 10-15 minutes and it's still not adding water, then we might have an issue with the brain itself. The sensor, I know, is good because I did test it before I removed it, so I know that part that I put in is good. But so far, it's still working. The other sensor, as soon as that second sense, it'll stop. So I know for sure it is going through the cycle. So let me go ahead and pause it so I don't leave you waiting for the water. So as soon as it starts adding water, I'll come back. Okay, so we're back, and so the reason why it wasn't adding water is because when I was testing it, it had froze right where that sensor went bad. So that kind of threw off the computer a little bit. But it's going into spin mode right now, which is the last final spin. It is going pretty fast. So I know that sensor is working. So as soon as it's done, then I'll go ahead and try it on a normal wash. Add some clothes in it. Let it do its thing. Try it out. But it looks like it is working, so the sensor was the issue. So that will actually finalize this repair. But once again, if you check that sensor and it's good, then you go into the, like I was mentioning, the actuator. If that doesn't make the whole shaft go into gear, then that also causes the same issue. Or cables being ripped, cables being loose, not well connected. That usually will fix that not going into high spin issue, or just blinking on the spin cycle, or whenever you started not sensing correctly. So yeah, those three things: the capacitor, actuator, and that motor sensor. Now, if you have a model I've seen Samsungs with instead of a regular motor, this one has a regular motor. The newer versions have a stator, which is a magnetic motor. Those have the same type of sensor. Those are called a Hall sensor. It does the same thing. So what it does, it just checks the position of the stator when it spins. So that sensor is bad. You might hear a clicking sound. You might hear some whining sounds because it doesn't know what position to go, what side to spin. So that also will blink either the door lock or the spin. It'll blink like that. And this one is fine, it's normal. But if you don't hear any noises after you start it and it's just blinking, then that might be the issue. So once again, if you have any other questions, comments, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And I'm gonna try to help as everybody as I can, and be uploading more and more every day or every second day, because I do have a lot of work, and I do go into people's houses to do repairs as well. So if I do, I try to take the camera with me, so you can see as different models as possible, so you guys can learn. Okay, so once again, leave a like, share. Any questions, go ahead and leave a comment. Thank you guys.